Welcome to Improve Your English Writing, video number 33, which is part 5, and the last part on me discussing the comma. This time I'm going to cover direct address, which is rule number 14, titles or degrees after personal name, which is rule number 15, junior and senior after a personal name, which is rule number 16. So if you'd like to get notifications for this series, please click subscribe. If you like the video or think others will find it useful, please hit like and check out links to videos and books in the description, like a link to the companion volume right there. So let's get into it. Rule number 14. So rule number 14 is use a comma at the beginning or end of a sentence, or commas mid-sentence, to separate names or words used as direct address. So let's look at a few examples. Angela, this is a direct address. Did you have lunch with your friends? So since we're doing direct address, we separate direct address with a comma. If it comes at the beginning or end of a sentence, we use a comma. So Angela, this is direct address, comma, did you have lunch with your friends? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a direct address. And it's at the beginning of a sentence, so we use a comma. So ladies and gentlemen, comma, we will now break for lunch. With all due respect, sir. Sir is, this is words. So here we had a name, here we had words. With all due respect, sir, this is a direct address. I disagree. So this direct address is coming in the middle of the sentence, therefore we use commas to separate it. And I called in sick that day, Michelle. So here we actually have a name used in direct address. Therefore we separate it with a comma. I called in sick that day, comma, Michelle. That's it for rule number 14. Let's go on to rule number 15, which says use commas to separate titles or degrees following a personal name. Some examples are Ruth Walker, CEO, approved the revised budget. So here we actually have a title. This person is CEO. It is following a personal name. Therefore, we separate it with commas. Ruth Walker, title, and then the rest of the sentence, and we separate these with comma. Ruth Walker, comma, CEO, comma, approve the revised budget. The next example is we spoke with Mr. Smith. Maybe they should say Dr. Smith, not Mr. Smith. We spoke with Mr. Smith, PhD, for more information. So this is a title, or degrees, sorry, this is a degrees which follow a personal name. Therefore, you separate them, or you separate it with commas. We spoke to Mr. Smith, comma, PhD, comma, for more information. And for not using periods in degrees of title, see rule number 93. I actually haven't planned the videos up that far. I mean, literally, this will probably be like video number 70 or something. But basically, rule number 3 discusses not using periods in titles of degrees. You may be used to seeing PH, period, D, period. But now the common practice is not to use the periods. But see rule number 93 for that. So let's move on to rule number 16. Rule number 16 says, do not separate junior or senior following a personal name with commas unless, one of two things, unless you're using MLA style, or you know the person, or it says, or the person prefers it, and you know the person prefers it. So that's the only two examples, or exceptions is basically do not use a comma to separate junior senior unless you're using MLA style or person prefers it. A little bit of history on this is that you used to separate it. You used to separate junior and senior with commas. But now, as time has moved on, in the last 20 years, you do not use comma. But that's the reason why you will still see it in some style guides like the MLA saying use commas, because it actually is something that was more of the rule 20 years ago. Who knows, in 5 years, the MLA style may not have it. And then just a follow-up, you never separate a numerical designation like the third, the fourth, the fifth, with following a personal name with commas. Never. Never, never, never. Doesn't matter. Even in MLA style, you do not separate numerical designations with commas. So here's some examples. You'd say Robert Smith Jr. graduated high school in 1982. You would not use commas here. But if you're in MLA style, this is the default, sorry. This is the default format. So when all else fails, do not put commas. But if you were in MLA style, that's probably what I say here. But but you'd use the commas. Robert Smith Jr. graduated high school in 1982, but you'd put the commas if you were in MLA style, or the person prefers the commas. And one way you know is rather you ask them, or more likely you've seen them use the commas with their name. And believe it or not, some people just don't know if they should use a comma or not. So they probably may default to it, but I'd say if you see the person on their business card or they've written you an email and they have the comma, this is an indication that they're using the comma, therefore use the comma. But if you don't know, you do not use the comma. If you had no information, someone just said to you, Robert Smith Jr., and you have no idea if the person prefers it, and you're not using an MLA style, then you don't use the comma. And then Robert Smith III, because we obviously had a junior, or senior, junior, the third. Robert Smith III graduated high school in 2011. So you never use commas with a numerical designation. So there's no exceptions for MLA or a person prefers it. It's just you don't use it. Well, that's it for this video. If you want to get notifications for the series, please click subscribe. If you like the video, please hit like. And check out links to books and videos in the description. Thank you.